This is the house that's been in our family for just about 100 years now. I'm trying to think of when this house was actually built. It was the early 1900s, 1907 or something like that, I believe. Yeah, so I'm Brent Greenway. This is my wife, Molly Greenway. Been married for 9 years now. We farm just west of Mitchell, about halfway between Mitchell and Mount Vernon. And my great-grandparents Greenway moved from England, I believe in 1927. Lived in a different house for a couple of years and then moved on this farm in 1929. So we're coming up on our century farm here, the Greenways, living here. Very diversified farm here. We've got pigs that we have, cow-calf operation, then row crops, soybeans, corn, a little bit of wheat. Gonna do some sorghum this year. But I've been farming full-time since 2019. I used to work in town in a few different places and decided to join the family farming operation in 2019. Since then, we've expanded, done a couple other kind of ventures, rented another pig barn to increase our pig numbers a little bit. But yeah, so that's what we do. Been farming for full-time for a little while and part-time growing up in the same exact area. Got a fun, interesting story is my grandfather was actually born on the living room floor, had a midwife come in, and he talks about his siblings upstairs, and they were looking through the register on the floor and watching their baby brother be born. And that's ultimately where my grandpa passed away. It was in the same living room floor.
Starting a family, so you're expecting, congratulations, and you're going to be rearing your little one here and little ones hopefully on a farm. I mean, but yeah, we're standing here in this house that's obviously being renovated right now, but you're getting close to the end and you're going to be hopefully moving in here sometime soon and new baby coming. I mean, it's pretty exciting. The 5th generation right here on a new house that's been in the family for 100 years. That's pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's not very many people that can say 5 generations all lived in one house. So that's something to be said. Obviously, we're excited. It's been a long time coming. I think we first started demolition 14 months ago, so it's been a process. Not to mention all the things before that, but it's exciting just knowing that this is where all of our future memories are going to be held, and it's also kind of fun when the other generations come back and they're like, well, this used to be here, or, his great aunt, when she came up the stairs, she goes, oh, we used to slide down this banister, and just kind of having those memories. But it's a long road. I'm glad we did it, and it's been, we had to move a hallway to make room for the addition, and then they said, well, if you're moving the hallway, you might as well redo the bathroom. And so it's just been kind of adding projects, but in the end it'll be better that way, and it'll last longer. So
Yep, that's kind of been our motto the whole time, is do it once, do it right. We're not doing this as a flip house or anything like that. We know we're going to be here till,
cows come home.
Yeah, and we're not putting a wheelchair ramp out there yet, but we're going to be here for a long time. So doing it once, making sure it's what we want for a long time. When my grandpa passed away here in 2021, we had the opportunity to buy the farm and buy the quarter of ground from his estate. And when we were looking at moving out, we lived in town, we were looking at moving out to the farm here, and wanted to make some extensive changes to the farm or to the house, and we were trying to figure out, okay, do you build a new house or just renovate or whatever. And story of my grandpa being born here and my grandparents living here for so long, and that was extremely important to us. I still have a great aunt that is phenomenal on history, my grandpa's sister, and I'm really proud of the fact that whenever this is done, she can step through the door and be really proud of what we've done with it and the legacy that we've carried on. Like you said, we're expecting in August, and our daughter will be the 5th generation of Greenways to live in this house. And that's really special. It's been a lot of work, any old farmhouse renovation. Like they told us, there's gonna be stuff that creeps up everywhere. Things that, yes, and this isn't square, or this is Sagan or whatever. But when it's all said and done and we're getting close to that point, we're gonna be very excited to see the finished product.
So Molly, when you first met Brent and you got married, he wasn't a full-time farmer.
That's right.
But I'm guessing you probably knew that was in the cards and coming. So just talk about that process a little bit.
Yeah, so, and I grew up on a family farm, so I'm familiar with the farming lifestyle. We did mostly, and I say we very loosely because I had 3 brothers, so I didn't have to do much besides mow the lawn. But my family still does mostly crop, and when I was little, we had cattle, and they had a few pigs at one point in time, but it was mostly the crop operation. But when we first met, Brent was an engineer and was testing tractors, and so he was still in the ag world, but he was on a much different work schedule. When we first started getting serious and we were planning a wedding, and we had the conversation of, well, do we move back sooner or later? And we moved back sooner, and he started farming part-time and working in town for a few years, and now here we are.
Name dropper, but I was in a meeting with former Secretary of Ag Sonny Perdue one time.
Okay.
The most sustainable farm is a profitable farm. I mean, that's right out of his mouth.
In the other yard is all the cows that have calved before. I kind of switched the 2. I started bringing ones that would calve. I'd bring them down here so they'd have shelter.
Okay.
Until I got to, half of them had calved, half of them hadn't. Then I swapped the 2. So I brought all the ones down here that hadn't calved. Well, since then I've taken 7 or 8, back up there. So in the last day and a half here, there was 4 new ones. Just locked them up here, give them a little bit more time to pair off and get nursing good, and get some nice dry area. The lots are a little bit muddy, so
just allowing those newborn calves some isolation with their mom, make sure they got a good bond, and make sure they're dried off and healthy and all that.
Absolutely.
You check them and maybe kick them out if they're good.
Yep, they'll follow the cow wherever she goes. So she goes and finds the wettest spot, they're probably going to lay down next to her, so just kind of give them a chance to lay in a dry spot for a little bit.
Well, let's check on them. Oh, and you got cameras in here.
I do.
A-cameras.
A cameras.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Work smarter.
Yes, absolutely. That's that.
What's this little guy doing?
His mom's probably the tamest. She was the first one when he got him. Got him as heifer as the first one to eat the cow cubes out of her hand. So usually what we're feeding our cattle is a mix of ground hay and then corn silage, or possibly a little bit of sorghum silage, possibly. This is all corn silage, but in the ground hay here, it's about a third alfalfa, and then we also have some millet grass that we had cut off of a field, and then we also have some oat straw. So yeah, 2006 was the first barn. Sow barn up there, I think, was 2007. So we did a couple groups of pigs. We actually started some of the sows, as they raised them up as young pigs. They took them up to the barn and then used them as sows. So we used to get pigs, they were probably 18 or 19 days old when we would get them, and they weighed 12 to 13 pounds. They realized if you can keep that pig with the sow for an extra, say 6 days, so they're 24 days old instead of 18, 19, your pig is going to get up to 16, 17 pounds, probably average weight. By keeping that pig on that sow for an extra 5-6 days and gaining those few extra pounds, they get off to so much better of a start. You will finish, 7 to 10 days earlier and use less feed. The pig is healthier. You have to, use less treatment or anything like that. Just by getting them off to that better start, you're more efficient downstream. It's better health of the pig and everything. So when they did that, of course you have to increase your number of farrowing stalls because they have to stay there a little bit longer.
Right.
So that was part of the expansion as well, to get an older, healthier pig.
Always looking to do something to help the health of the pigs and the efficiency of making it up to market weight.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Second barn was in 2013. What do we got out of here? We got 8 loads out and we got 5 loads left. So we're
So you're cleaning this out.
Yes.
Right now.
Yep. They're pretty cozy and content right now.
Yep.
We built the feed mill in 2008. That was one thing. We were getting all of our feed from Corsica, the feed mill down there, and did a great job. It's just, it was expensive. There wasn't a very big market for feed mills in the area, so it was expensive. So this is soybean meal here. So our rations that we put in, we'll put in so many pounds of corn per ton, so many pounds of soybean meal per ton, so many distiller. So soybean meal, cracked, rolled, extruded, they pull the oil out of it. That's, especially nowadays, that's kind of the real value of the soybean is starting to be more the oil and the soybean meal. Originally it was just a byproduct and kind of a wasted thing you were trying to get somebody to pay just to take away. And, now the meal itself is, the oil itself is a, very sought after product. It's extremely hard work. There's frustrating days, and when you get mud out in the cow lots that you're dealing with, and trying to do as good as you can to take care of the calves. There's frustrating days, but some of those days where you, as a team with my parents and our business partner Thomas, where everybody pulls together and you work like heck and you get a really big job done, and that sigh of relief at the end of the day and accomplishing a task. And one of the things that during the pandemic, when there was meat shortages in some grocery stores, and people knew that the hardships that pig farmers were having with some of the processing facilities closing, some of our neighbors, friends in the area that would reach out to us and say, hey, do you guys have any pigs? And of course we had extra at that time. They go, we'd love to buy a pig from you. We'd love to butcher it. For one thing, trying to help us out by finding a place for those animals to go, but also knowing the trust that they had in us, raising a delicious product. All of the pork that we eat comes from our own animals. So we know we're doing a great job, but the confidence that people had in us to say, hey, we want to buy an animal that you cared for was really important. And that was one kind of highlight for us in a very low time. Just to know that people had confidence in what we were doing.
The pork that you raise, you're also part of the Holstone pork processing facility. So those pigs will get shipped to Nebraska, harvested, and they come back and they're being sold right here in Mitchell, right?
Absolutely. That's kind of a recent thing. So Holstone Farms, I believe, was established in 2018. Bought it was a Hormel harvesting facility in Fremont, Nebraska, and gone through a number of different changes, revitalized that plant. It's a plant that I've toured, and we're very proud of that down there. We didn't know where our product was going before, to different grocery stores or whatever at some of the other packing facilities, but now that the fact that you can go to our grocery stores in Mitchell and know that some of the meat on the shelf there could be our very own products that were raised 7 to 8 miles away from Mitchell. So that's really cool to see. I didn't, we'd always kind of heard that, okay, yeah, eventually you'll have it in your own grocery store, and just kind of thought it was a story. But now that you actually see it, I mean, it's so full circle to see that come back home, to have possibly some of your own meat being sold to your neighbors and friends right here in town.
Support
Yeah.
local.
Yes.
Could be a
farmers.
Greenway pork product.
There you go.
Yeah, very cool.
Let's talk some more about just out on the farm, the different operations. You've got, like you said, so many different irons in the fire, but you still have a job, in town. I'm quoting there. No farmer, no farm family does this. One guy out doing the farming and another person working in town, because he's also involved in a lot of different things and goes a lot of different places. So,
Well, we're fortunate. Brent's parents are obviously still very involved, and so there's a lot of people around, and then they also have an employee who is crucial in making sure things get done when we're busy. Because on top of working in town, I'm also on a volunteer board, so we kind of have a lot going on at different times of the year, both being gone. But when I'm on the road, my main job is picking up parts. I'm pretty much a pro part runner at this point, and conveniently, I drive by a lot of the places where they need parts from, so I get to be the parts runner, and then obviously the day-to-day stuff of just making sure everything's picked up and, running to town for groceries and parts and different things.
it's so different every single day. It's hard to really articulate that. I'm trying to think, what I would say or what my wife would say. I don't know, pick a day and it's different, right? But it takes a whole lot of teamwork to keep this thing moving and rolling. But if you don't have that team, it just doesn't work. You're involved obviously with a lot of different things, a volunteer board. One of the reasons we know you is your involvement with the South Dakota soybeans. How do you find the time, and why do you volunteer your time to do all those different things?
My grandpa was a county commissioner. My grandma was in some homemakers associations. My dad's been on a number of boards. My mom's now on the FSA state board, and it's just something we've always been passionate about. They have being 4-H leaders or whatever it has. The Davidson County Pork Producers Council, cooking pork loins for different events, and it's just something we've always done. Yeah, it's crazy. You get done feeding pigs, you come home, you shower 10 minutes, you're on the road and headed to something, and the minute it's done, you're talking to people for 10 minutes and flying back home to finish chores. And we've had a number of different groups come up to our barns to kind of look and just talk about what we do and why we do it. And last week we had a sustainability group. Their team came up. Had the FSA employees here the week before come up. I think there was 37 or 40 of them that came out. So, it's good to get people out here just to show them what we do, why we're doing it, how we're caring for our animals, how we're caring for the land, trying to do as much as you can. and try to give back some time after that as well.
You live in the community you create, and you guys are creating a heck of a one right here. I think it's really cool. So kudos to you guys. Obviously, you had a successful engineering career. You've got a successful career. You guys didn't need to come out here and work as hard as you do on a farm, but yet you do. We thank you for doing that, because without that, the rest of us wouldn't have as much as we do, especially in our bellies, right?
That was always my thing, is, man, I'm gonna work a job where at 5 o'clock the bell rings and you put your work down and you walk home, and then your time is your own. And I did that for a number of years, and I always kind of said, well, yeah, maybe 20 years down the road, I'll come back to the farm. And then about a year later, I was maybe 5 or 10 years. And then a year later, it's like, all right, how about next year? One thing my dad has always said is as farmers, we do a great job of, producing more with less than what we used 2 years ago. And we're doing a phenomenal job out here and doing as good as we can, but we do a terrible job of telling people what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. It is a lot of work, but it's good to get out there and tell our story.